She is Alex. Pat Coyne is with us. My name is Steve Hausman, Property Source Radio till 10 o'clock with Mo Aubrey, who is the I'm going to call you the president. Or he is Mr. Rooter. The president of Mr. Rooter. Phone number is 235-6000, MrRooter.com if you want to find out about how they can provide all your plumbing repairs, maintenance needs, big or small. My invention. I thought of this 10 years ago. Because, I mean, let's all face it, when we're all in the bathroom, and again, I promise we'll get off this subject because I know you do way more than just this.
I just have a question for you, Steve. Am I going to have to pay your royalties on this?
No. I'll let you in on this. You can. As a matter of fact, you can market this in conjunction with Property Source Radio.
Okay, great.
Because we all multi-source in the, we multitask in the John. I would like to see
That's gross.
a little device that when you sit down, you bring it over your head, and it's a little table in front of you for your computer. For the newspaper, it's called a crap top. It's the crap
Very
top.
good.
You just bring it down. You sit down, you bring it down in front of you, and it's a little.
It's the only time I hear for a little R&R.
Yeah.
I don't need
Think
that.
of all the stuff you can do with the crap top in front of you.
That's got to be a man thing because
It is.
women don't go into the bathroom and multitask.
No, that's grossing me out because I just go in, do it, get out. I don't like to mess around in there.
If you have a big family, as you said, Mo, it's the only time you have to yourself.
Yeah.
You can spend a good half hour in there if you wanted to. It's a Property Source Radio exclusive, the crap top.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. It's catchy. So I have a question.
All right.
Speaking of plumbing
Move along.
and plumbing disasters, can you put coffee grounds in your garbage disposal and grind them up, or will it clog inevitably?
Well, you're gonna solve a big dilemma in my house in this one too.
Big dilemma because
Yeah.
I take the coffee grounds out, I put them right in the thing, I turn it on.
I heard that it's good for the system.
I also heard that.
It's good for the plumbers.
Oh,
We love it.
Oh,
Keep
yeah.
pouring them in there.
And the grease. Follow it up with a can of
follow
grease.
it up with a couple gallons of grease.
Why is it not a good thing to pour the coffee grounds in, and then have
Well,
the garbage disposal just take care of it?
Steve, the thing of it is coffee grounds in and of themselves really, actually, it's kind of a two-sided thing. The coffee grounds, believe it or not, will actually almost work like sandblasting the inside of your disposal, which will actually clean it, and it'll make all the food particles that are clinging on and decaying in there,
Right.
and it'll help make it smell a little better for a while. But the coffee grounds themselves, unless you're running a lot of water behind it, they will, if there's any bellies in your sewer pipe or if you're on septic, they'll really start accumulating over time, and eventually you're gonna hit 235-6000. Just remember that phone number.
It's good for business, but it's not a good
for
idea.
business.
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend them. We don't put them down ours at home. Ice cubes actually work best to clean your garbage disposal.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah. Throw a glass full of ice cubes and let it rip.
I could see that.
Yeah.
What about lemons? I heard that was, just
that'll make them smell good.
and it doesn't do anything for.
But I'm not a real fan of garbage disposals personally.
Okay.
I should be because they keep me in business.
Yeah. So, over time, you get clogged drains because of the disposal
Right.
materials going down, no matter
Right.
what.
But if you do have a garbage disposal and you like using it, my biggest recommendation is run, at least a gallon of water behind it when you're done.
Okay.
To try
When
to
you're
flush.
done.
when you're done.
Yeah, when you're done using it. While you're using it, but
Yeah.
let it run for about another, 30 seconds just to help flush all that stuff you just chopped up and sent down your waistline to get to its point, where it's going.
Yeah. I kind of limit my use. I don't jam as much as I possibly can down in there.
Yeah.
Because I am on septic, and I'm aware that I don't even think they're recommended for septic.
They're really not, because with a septic tank you only have a limited amount of capacity for solids.
Yeah.
And once again, we also pump septic tanks, so keep grinding.
Okay.
That to me is maybe one of the most entry-level jobs in the world. Being a septic tank. I mean, someone's got to do it.
Yes.
Someone does.
Yeah. But I'll tell you what, I kind of have
Looking at Pat.
a story about septic
Yeah.
tanks, and this is maybe really good for the listener to know. In the septic world, if you will, there's quite a few different people that do septic pumping, and the cheapest isn't always the best sometimes. So buyer beware. And I remember I had hired some guy maybe 9 years ago to upset the tanks, and he had come from remain anonymous, another company that did that type of work. And I used to ask him, how do you normally do it? And he said, well, I got paid, by how many tanks I pumped during the course of the day. And I said, well, boy, that could be time consuming at times. There should be times that it's taken over an hour to find the right hole to pump the tank from. And it really is the center hole from a tank is where you really want to pump it, unless it's a 2 or 3 compartment tank, which means you got to pull 3 lids if that's the case.
Who knew?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And in this particular, I had asked them, I said, what happens if you find the outlet baffle side and it's just a small port and the baffle's in the way? And the guy told me, well, that's what my dig bar is for. And I said, what do you mean? And he says, I take my dig bar and I pop the baffle off and I pump it down. I said, well, what happens with all those suspended solids that are going to make their way out into the leach field and plug them all up? And he just said, well, they're not going to know about that for a few years.
Oh,
so
bad.
So it just buyer beware. Make sure that, whoever you're using is reputable and they're using they're doing it the right way.
Wow, that's interesting to know.
Yeah, and once your leach fields are full of solids, it's very, very difficult to clean and rejuvenate the system. So,
wow.
For a simple, couple of dollars, sometimes it's worth making sure. Or if you know where your septic tank is, uncover the covers yourself.
Okay.
And watch the person do it. So.
Interesting stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, this is stuff we don't learn about every day or aren't aware of.
And the sad truth of it is you're not going to know for years. It could take 2, 3, 4 years before all those suspended solids get out and plug all the holes in your leach lines.
What's the difference between because I'm obviously don't think I have a septic system.
No.
How would you know if you did?
Usually when you
how do
buy
you
the
know
house.
if you're...
Well,
when you buy the house, you'll know.
It's disclosed that, when you buy a home. But, I mean, I guess if I were to tell you how you're going to know is typically the if you're on sewer, it typically goes out the front of a house, and the real way to know is there's manhole covers in the road in front of your house.
Yeah.
Is kind of the sure way of knowing, And then, 90% of the time, if you're on septic, the tank is either behind or on the side of the house.
I'm surprised, Pat, that you are on septic because you live in.
I am too.
You live in kind of a high-profile neighborhood.
Yeah, you know what? I think it's from what I've been told, it's the neighborhood is at a different level from the main roads. It's at a different pitch, so it's such a far pitch that I guess it was way too costly to make that
Put a pump or a lift station in.
Yeah, that's why.
cost prohibitive.
Are there people who prefer to be on septic rather than sewer? I mean, I don't know.
I haven't ever found anyone yet.
No. Well,
No.
I know myself. I'm on septic, and I wish I was on sewer.
Yeah.
Okay, so being on sewer is better.
It's definitely better.
You don't have to really
there's
deal
no
with
maintenance
it.
involved. When
Right.
you're on septic, cheap insurance, you should have your tank pumped 3 to 5 years, depending on how many people are in your home, and how often you guys cook out or
barbecue.
barbecue.
Is that
or go out to eat.
Yeah. Right.
Right.
Is that a homeowner's expense? Something they have
Yes.
to pay for? Or
yes.
very
Oh, yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Mo Aubrey is the owner of Mr. Rooter. He is Mr. Rooter Plumbing. The phone number is 235-6000, MrRooter.com. We promised to get off the septic angle of things because you do a lot. I mean, you said earlier in the show that just 1 out of 10 of your calls is for this kind of an issue. What is that? What is the bulk of your stuff?
I think the bulk of our stuff actually is plumbing repairs, everything from water heaters, tankless water heaters, and again we really do get into a lot of this trenchless technology type stuff where we're doing these either a lining where it's a pull in place, cure in place liner. We have directional drill equipment where if you didn't have a pipe, we can actually drill a new hole and pull a pipe in place. We use that technology quite a bit with either rerouting water line or water service to your house, or when people convert from septic and they're going to sanitary, and there's not a pipe there. Well, we just drill a new pipe out and pull it back, and we don't have to destroy, your landscape, your trees, driveways, sidewalks, patios, you name it.
So you're really full service.
You're right.
And you never charge overtime.
Never an overtime charge.
That's impressive.
Exactly.
Are you a fan of the tankless water heater?
Good question.
I am. Yes, I am.
Do you have one?
I have one in my house.
Oh.
And
So that
and again, I will tell you this, that depending on the application, it's either it can conserve energy, but it can also use a lot of energy. And I'll tell you, for instance, I have a couple of beautiful teenage daughters with long hair.
Good God.
And
Here we go.
before I had my tankless water heater, I had 2 40-gallon water heaters, one for my bathroom and one for their bathroom.
No kidding.
No
2
kidding.
40s.
Right.
Wow.
And of course, my oldest daughter would jump in her shower and she would deplete 40 gallons of hot water and she would get out.
Oh,
you know,
my God.
20 minutes, half an hour, and she was done.
Oh, my
And of
God.
course, my other daughter would say, "Hey, Dad, you know, my Chantel used all the hot water. I got to jump in your shower." I said, "Well, you better make sure you save me hot water." And
Yeah.
of course, the same thing would happen. I'm sitting there, you know, waiting for water. So, a long story short, with the tankless water heater, it produces just what it says: endless hot water.
Endless at your expense.
Endless.
At
And
your
be-
expense, of
and
course.
Of course.
Well, all right. Well,
unless you want to pay my
Nope, not
bill.
today.
then my question is: we're just 2 people in my house.
Okay.
Am I better off with a regular water heater or a, one of the newfangled ones that we're talking about here?
Well, Steve, again, it really depends on what the ultimate goal is. If you want
Yeah.
to save energy, a tankless water heater will save you energy if you use it, frugally. I guess
Well, it's just 2 of us.
If it's just 2 of you guys, it probably in your application it probably would save you guys, because the beautiful part about this tankless water heater is when you shut your hot water faucet off, it shuts off.
Mm-hmm.
And the analogy that's been used is, when you come home from work, you don't pull your car into the driveway, throw it in park, and then go inside and leave your car idling all night.
Good point.
And that's kind of what a tank type water heater does, is it sits there idles until it needs more hot water. You draw hot water off of it and then the burner turns on, but it does run, constantly. So, that's the analogy used. Now, I will say, somebody mentioned something about a hot tub or a jacuzzi.
Yeah,
If you have a jacuzzi, it's ideal for that because, again, you can fill an Olympic-sized pool with hot water with a tankless water heater. It just produces it as fast as as fast as the water.
And I
goes in.
would never hold you to this, but approximately what does one cost? Installed and ready to go.
Right. Well, again, it depends on the model you choose, but I would say anywhere from $3,000 on up to, I've seen them as much as $6,000-$7,000.
Okay, so if I want the J400,
Yeah,
if there's such a thing, and
Right.
there's different
I mean,
applications.
I think the average cost is probably around $4,000.
That's to change all the plumbing that's needed
and you
to
have
purchase
to,
it.
Typically, you have to increase the gas size.
Oh, yeah.
Because when it fires, it uses a lot more gas than your regular water heater because it has to heat all that water. It's going through it all at once.
Didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
All right, I want you to come back after we take a break because, Alex, we talked about this issue. Think about the weirdest thing in your years as a Mr. Rooter, the weirdest thing you've pulled out of a drain.
Alrighty.
All right, can you help us with that?
Sure.
All right, Property Source Radio. We're here till 10 o'clock. Stay with us here at Sports Radio 950 ESPN.